not everyone is kung fu fighting, but Imran Khan, news editor of fanbyte.com, is doing that today. Hello, Imran.
Hello, Stephen.
We are joined, of course, by Funke Joseph, featured contributor, fanbyte.com.
Hi, you were so ready with that intro.
I'm glad you thought so. I thought of it 14 seconds ago. And we are also, of course, joined by head of media, John Warren.
Some would say you're as fast as lightning.
That's how good I am at coming up with intros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is Sifu. We got a really packed house. I think it's the biggest first bite in terms of like bodies that we've had in a while, which is maybe
yeah,
appropriate.
Steven, do you want to tell people how many fucking people played this game on our staff?
They sent us 10
fucking codes. So yeah, like our entire staff played this game, which is great.
Our upcoming games channel just filled with like people going like, man, Sifu's really good.
Sifu's really good.
You're a contender, huh?
Yeah.
Spoilers for this first bite.
It is a game of the year contender, yes. Sifu is a really fucking good game. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you, Imran, and... Oh, no, Funke, you've probably played the most of the game so far. You beat it.
Yeah, I played a bunch, and it is very cool. I think I love how each level builds on itself and tries really different things, visually and also just with the bosses at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Imran, you had a specific level with a specific boss you wanted to show us, but you want to kind of like give an overview. John, why don't you give an overview of what Sifu is?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So imagine, if you will, I'm gonna borrow a lot from what Funke described to me, but I thought they did a really great job describing this. Imagine, if you will, a John Wick, but you have no gun, and instead of people kind of like hanging back and waiting for their turn to hit you, they just kind of all come at you at once. But it's a video game. That's kind of what Sifu is, and it also combines mechanics that might be familiar to like From Software or Roguelike fans, but also it's got this aging mechanic, which is super fucking cool and bizarre. And yeah, I don't know. It's just the kind of fight coordination game of my dreams, and it's a blast. It's a really cool game, and it's fucking difficult.
I absolutely love how there are no guns at all in this. Like,
no guns.
It's something I really liked about Mirror's Edge as well. Just having to explore an environment and only use hand-to-hand combat or just like your body as a weapon, or just pick up whatever they're dropping. But yeah, no guns makes it just such a fun, close quarters fighting game.
Yeah, Imran, do you want to tell us, so no guns, obviously you just beat up some guys with some knives and stuff here. Where are you?
So this is the third level, the museum. This is, I think, where the game starts getting like really elaborate, where there's basically, I have to get to the boss at the very top of this thing. Normally, what I would have to do is go through the exhibition and work my way up to the very top. I've been through this level before, and because Sifu is a roguelite, I have some items that just kind of let me get up to the stairs immediately.
Right.
Yeah, like that key card.
Even the first level, they do that. There's like a mini boss that you can fight to get like a key that opens up a door. And then from that point forward, on all subsequent runs, you never have to fight that mini boss again because you already have his key and you can just skip him.
Yeah, the shortcuts here are, I think, some of the best in the game. Diego's pointing this out as well, but there's one key you can get that just goes straight to the boss.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, which is just like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, they have those keys that get to final bosses in a couple levels where it's like, okay, you could basically just skip ahead, which is cool because this game wants you to beat it at the youngest age. So you age in this game when you die.
Yeah, as Imran just did.
Yeah. I promise I'm better at this game than I'm showing while recording.
No. This recording is fine. You are doing a good job here. But yeah, you age when you die, and there are ways to basically lower the amount that you age by beating like mini bosses and stuff, but like that kind of becomes a pretty core mechanic of how young can you be getting through this game, because as you age your health goes down and you become kind of way more susceptible to like, one hit kills or like very fast deaths. So like
but your damage goes up.
Damage,
I love that it's not just like you're
which I think is
weaker.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you're stronger, but in a different way. Like it's a push and pull there, which is nice.
Yeah.
And also a thing that we've seen Imran do a couple of times here is this is two of the very most Sekiro-like things about this whole game, which are as you're doing, there's not just one type of damage. I think there's health damage, but I think they call it structure damage.
Yeah, structure.
Which is if you basically it's the posture bar from Sekiro. If you break someone's posture all the way, you can just instantly end them.
Yeah.
The same goes for you. If you get your posture broken or your structure broken, people can just like push you around. You can't block anymore until you take one hit or get away for long enough.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of hyper focusing this build of this run on focus bar because it's just very useful.
Right.
So I've got like 2 extra focus bars, a little weapon proficiency, focus regain on dodging. I should get some more health on takedowns, honestly.
Yeah.
And like when you find like this dragon statue, you can just pick a bonus and for the statue alone, and also level up if you need to.
I want a completely different build than you. That's wild.
I go different builds here and there, but like this one, I chose this.
I usually go all in on weapon durability because like weapons are so powerful in this game.
Right.
But yeah, you could do a lot. You can just you can do structure builds. You can do focus builds. I don't know. There's a lot going on with this game.
Look at this part.
Oh my
This part is so good.
What?
So I don't think any of this is real. that is what Funky. You finished the game, so don't confirm or deny that for me. But it really does seem like all this at some point levels become illusory.
Or there's magic. It could also be magic.
Yes.
I think it's no spoilers, but I think it is just magic. Like, because that's how they describe your power as well. Like,
Right, you
and
have
all the
age
bosses.
magic.
Yeah, all the bosses have different magic abilities. So,
Yeah.
I think it is real.
And the cleansing of a dark
There's definitely some implied
water is
mystical stuff going on early on in this game.
I mean, yeah. Even in early boss fights, it's like every boss fight's second form features some sort of bizarre, fantastical element. So,
And I think
there's something going on.
Imran chose this one because the boss is wild, and the second stage is so beautiful as well. Like,
I've not beaten the boss yet, so
Oh, be careful, Imran, you're one. Oh, there we go. So that's the focus you were talking about earlier, is those are your like specials that you can do to slow down time and just instantly get somebody off of you.
Yeah.
There's different ones, but there's like eye poking, I think, is what you start with.
Eye poking is what you start with. You can get like a strong sweep, and once someone goes down, you can do a lot to them. So it's a nice thing. But there are also like strong weapon strikes and things like that you can add to your focus.
this area Imran's in right now is so hard, especially because like the lighting is fixated just in the center of this place, but there's people all around, and then it throws some people at you that are just so tough.
And I will say this too is like the first boss, they actually patched the first boss before this game is coming out, so the version of the first boss that a lot of us have cut our teeth on is actually harder than the one people will be playing against in the final release.
Listen, this is just like student loans. I already paid mine back. I don't need other people's to be canceled. I want everyone to fight the hard botanist, okay? Not just me. I'm just kidding.
But like besides that boss being like really hard, I think the hardest thing in this game is just when there's a bunch of people around you, because it's not like Arkham Asylum where everybody takes a turn. Like you were saying, John, it's not like everybody takes one turn to attack you and then you always know who's going to hit you. They will just fucking all go on you at once.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for Sloclap to make a James Bond game so that the villain actually just goes through with their diabolical plan instead of just telling James Bond about it slowly and not doing it. Because that's what Sloclap is doing with like the brawling genre here. It's just like you always watch Jackie Chan movies. It's like if they all just get on him, they can get him, and they go, yeah, what would happen if that happens? And that's basically Sifu.
Truly. And it's so jarring when, see, Imran did a takedown there. Sometimes enemies will like deflect your takedown and just get full health and just turn Super Saiyan. Like they become way stronger. Yes. Yeah. And then you're like, shit, like I thought I was going to beat this grunt early and get some health back. And then you have like a mini boss you're fighting.
Now, the trade-off to mini bosses is that every mini boss you take down in this game takes 1 year off of the amount you age every death.
Yeah.
Or maybe more than 1 year sometimes. I'm not actually sure, but every time you die, it adds another. So if the first time you die, you age by 1 year. Second time you die in a row, you age by 2 years. Third time, 3 years, and so on and so on. But you can lower that number by taking out those mini bosses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's by one, but sometimes they take a couple lives off of you, so it's
Right.
like, oh god.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I will take this detour to go fight a mini boss. Like, oh, that was not worth it.
No.
Right, because there are advantages too, but beyond that, it's like you're obviously getting a level score here in the right, and your combo I think only goes down when you take a hit and don't block or deflect it.
Yeah, there's also an enemy in this stage that is actually from the fighting club, the second stage.
Oh, cool.
And she has a giant staff that if you beat her, you can just have the staff for a lot of the level. And if you have weapon durability plus, like that staff is staying with you for a minute. But she's also so tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw me sneak by her earlier.
Yeah, I saw you being like, "Is this the way where she is?" Like, I want to go the other way.
There's also
Yeah.
like a risk reward to that weapon durability stuff because as Imran was at the shrine earlier, all of those abilities are tied to a specific age. So weapon durability is not going to keep you alive longer, but if you get it early and build it up early, that's the only time you can get it because you can only get it before you turn age 25.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that feels suffocating, especially when you're like 70 and on one of the later levels. And it's like, oh, I can't I can't like upgrade myself. Like this is just what I am, until the final boss, I guess. So that like really forces you to replay levels and really understand what every single enemy does.
Yeah. Yeah,
think
you
flash
start
kicks
to
are
learn
annoying.
you start to learn the language of this game, I think. I don't know, maybe 5 hours in, which to this game's maybe detriment. It took longer than I think it should.
Yeah.
I think there are ways that this game operates that are not super clear. I think it could have used some tutorialization past what it does, and I
Right.
think it's not as immediately tight as something like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but like once you kind of learn the language, it makes sense. But like I do wonder how many people might bounce off of it because of that stuff.
Yeah, and you talk about the game clicking. Like the game clicked twice for me. Like the first happened like pretty early, and I was like, okay, so the mechanics do work. They're solid. They're not sloppy. Because I was like, is this hard or are these bad mechanics? I can't tell. Then the second time it clicked was probably like 15 hours in when I was like, okay, enemies each have a specific pattern. I need to know that because there's like 5 enemy types, and they keep throwing stronger versions of them at me.
Yeah.
Which
They all have a very specific rhythm too, which is
Yes.
like the second anyone throws you off, it becomes a much different proposition.
yes, they like have slightly different rhythms as well, which is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that this game kind of gets around that is it is so like with Sekiro can be a little bit more. Sekiro almost feels more forgiving than I think this game does in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because
Sekiro doesn't expect you to die, honestly. This game
Right.
expects you to die constantly.
and it wants you to because it's like trying to play into that idea of the aging mechanic, I assume.
Yeah.
I love this room. This is
cool.
such a sick thing.
Oh, this is a thing we haven't really even talked about with this game. This game's got style.
Yeah. It's got a lot of style. It does a lot with like interiors. I think this has excellent interior kind of design and
yeah.
in a way that I've not seen in most modern games. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect when all the bosses do their magical second stage. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
It really throws you into a whole different fantasy world based
Yeah,
on
the
their
first
power.
time it happens is like, oh yeah, I beat him finally. This guy's so difficult. And it turns to the second phase. I'm like, holy shit, no.
Oh, now he has a knife.
Now
Fuck
it has a
off.
fucking knife. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're in the forest instead of a greenhouse.
Yeah, that guy fucking sucks. I remember there was a point where, because this game, I described it as like Into the Breach, like where this goes both ways. If when you do it and when enemies do it, if you push somebody, there's certain moves you can do, like a palm strike that pushes people way far away. And if they hit the background, they take a bunch of extra damage. So if they hit like a wall from that push, it's like really worth it in addition to getting somebody off of you. But you also take damage when they do that to you. And that guy has a move where if he lands the first punch, he just causes a bamboo shoot to sprout out behind your back every time, so you always take that bonus damage. It fucking sucks.
I fully thought that they were just behind me before, but he's spawning them. He like spawns them directly for wherever he kicks you. That's such a cheese.
Imran was like in our Slack saying like, I can't, it's like it makes you land into one of those every single time. And it's like, yeah, he does make you land into one of those every single time.
Yeah, he's a fucking tree bender, apparently. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think we've all kind of at various points in the Slack and in Discord conversations and in this call talked about how fucking hard this game is. But it sounds like most of you have kind of come around on the difficulty and just been like, no, I broke through.
This level's the farthest I've gotten, so like I'm struggling a bit more here. But like when I was prepping the save to record this, like the first 2 levels felt like training wheels.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Which is a lot because they're hard. Like, I mean, like I can't stress this enough. Like I do think this game is going to create another wave of kind of difficulty conversation in games, which I think is fine. I don't really mind those conversations personally, but like, but this game is really, really hard, and it does not. It does not want you to succeed. That was nice, Imran.
Good shit.
And it is really asking you to learn the tools. You can't grind, really. You can learn new moves, and those help you, question mark. They do help you, but it's like they basically add to your repertoire, right? Which I know sounds obvious, but it's like that's all they do. It basically adds variety to what you can do. It adds
they
openings
don't really,
to combat.
If you're not using it, it's not worth, like you're not getting the worth out of it.
Right. So you gotta, this is a little bit like a fighting game in a way where like you need to learn your entire protagonist skill set. And if you unlock something, make sure you're using it. Otherwise you just kind of unlock something to unlock it. Like really think about the way you play the game and unlock stuff in that order, I feel like.
You also just don't get stronger generally. Like your stats don't go up as you try again. You can permanently, like as you just saw there, you can like permanently unlock some moves by spending experience. But for the most part, you just have to get better at this game. Yeah. Which I think is going to frustrate a lot of people.
Right.
There's no grinding and there's no cheesing, which I thought there would be some sort of way to get by these bosses easier. But no, it wants you to learn every single one of their moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really do. To continue John's like fighting game analogy, and we'll probably see it with this boss here. They don't just expect you to like get the timing down of a parry, which is already hard enough in this game. It's also there are overheads and lows, and you have to recognize when a character is attacking from high up that you need to dodge down, or if they're attacking from down low and trying to sweep your leg, you need to dodge up and get the timing right. So like I feel like Sekiro is largely, you know, it's parries. They've got like things like the Makiri counter, but that is so telegraphed with the big red perilous icon on enemies that you always know exactly what you're going to have to do.
Right.
Whereas this game is just like, nope, that person is moving in a very particular way.
Yeah.
Learn what that means. Figure it out on your own.
Yeah, this game doesn't telegraph a lot. It really just kind of like, once you start engaging with an enemy, it's like, oh, now you kind of see the depth to which that enemy is strong. Nice. Wow, you're doing so much better on this boss than I would be. Holy shit.
Sometimes it's nice to just have people in the background let your mind
talking while not.
Listen, Imran, you're doing this live right now, and we're very impressed.
This boss is a crash course in what Steven was just talking about.
Yeah,
she hits high and then low and then high and then low in 2 to 3 different patterns. So you have to like learn those by just her slight movements.
And she makes like the second boss is a lot like this, but she makes the second boss look like baby time.
Yeah, because then you go back to the second boss and you're like, oh, this guy's doing like 2 things where she has like 3.
Yep.
One bone that they do throw you that I really appreciate is, unlike Sekiro, bosses and enemies' posture bars, or structure bars in this case, so at least as far as I've seen, don't go down. You can afford yourself some time by just backing up and just like, then get back in. You don't have to always be on the offensive. In fact, I would say if you're always on the offensive, you're fucked. You simply cannot win.
You have to be unbelievably patient with some of these guys.
That changes in the late game, though. Like, their bars start to drop fast.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Never mind. Ignore everything I just said.
No, I mean, I think it's like, it's one of those interesting things where, like, yeah, every single boss fight and level basically it gets you to think about the game in a more complete way, I think. And yeah, like Funky was talking to me about like the aggression of later bosses and stuff, and yeah, it sounds like if you are not utilizing your entire move set and also the dodges and blocking and the parrying available to you, you're not going to beat this game. So you have to just know everything. It really isn't like From games where I do feel like you can build a character. Wow, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Get her ass.
You can build a character to suit your play style, when in this game it's like you can do some of that to an extent, but like you also need to just learn the entire language of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never beaten this next phase before, so that's really interesting.
We'll see. Yeah, so here's some of the magic we were talking about. Maybe magic.
Yeah,
it's clearly magic.
It's either magic or like dementia, one of the two.
Yeah, sure.
Because like, but God, this looks so fucking good. Holy
shit.
God, so cool.
Jesus Christ.
good dodges.
These characters, like, so there's like, I think like 6 or 8 bosses in the game total. I think they show at the very beginning.
Yeah,
I think there's it's like one stage per element. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or element of the, or Chinese element, or whatever they described to me in that preview a year ago.
Sure. And they introduce you to all of them in this like really cool like 36 Chamber of Shaolin Shaw Brothers style like shadow boxing opening, where you're like your character is like image training against each of the bosses, so you get to a preview of their movesets. Hey, what the fuck?
I've literally never seen that before. So
that's a really interesting move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing of note is that none of the bosses really want to fight you. Like, you have gone into their space, and I think this boss specifically is like, don't fight. Like, I don't want to fight you.
Yeah.
And in her second stage, she's like, you should have listened to me. I don't want to fight you.
There's some stuff. There's like a conspiracy board that your character has, like tracking the movements of all of the different tracking the movements of all the different bosses. And there's some interesting stuff in there that kind of like implies that there's maybe more going on to the story. I won't get too deep into the spoilers for the early setup, but you're on a revenge story against these bosses, basically.
Yeah, and I think the revenge story goes in very interesting places by the end. What it asks you to wrestle with is really fascinating. Yeah, that move is so...
I parried it once or twice, and then like it's very hard to call out.
Right.
She does do a little tell, I've noticed, but
there's a flash, the botanist. Yeah. It's the same as when the botanist goes into the trees and then leaps out at you.
I feel like all the bosses in this game feel like what it felt like to fight a Lionel the first time in Breath of the Wild. I was like, I've got this combat down. Like, this is great. And I fight a Lionel, and I'm like,
never
I'm
mind.
terrible at this game.
Yeah, I mean, like,
nice, get her! Combo.
Winnable.
Yeah, I mean, for as difficult as the bosses are, like there are a lot of tools in your arsenal. It is like Sekiro in that if you do parry physical attacks like that, you're breaking their posture without actually having to do damage to them. So it works out really well in your favor.
Woof. Okay.
And then your posture does reset like it just did there. Which is really nice.
I just run.
Oh, nice, nice.
There's no stamina meter, so you can just kind of do that if you need a breather, but it's...
That's it!
Oh my God.
Let's go!
Ouch. At 2 Brute.
She just wanted to run a museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some stuff with the bosses where it's just like, the things that they are doing, other than the fact that you want revenge against them for something very specific, the stuff that they're largely doing doesn't seem that bad.
Right, like the first guy is like a drug dealer, so I'm like, okay, yeah, it's fine. But then like everything after that is like, do I need to kill this guy?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that Dishonored vibe of like does the punishment always fit the crime? Kind of.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I like that they kind of go out of their way to try and like, because you can pick at the beginning of the game whether you play as a man or a woman, and it shows in your age. Your character gets older in whatever way. So the dude gets like a really big bushy beard, like Clan of the White Lotus type thing. With the lady, they give her like a longer and longer braid at the back because it's like, well, we don't have a beard to work with. What do we have? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Your hair gets whiter. You get more wrinkles.
They get more clothed as they get older too. Have y'all noticed that?
They start wearing like
yeah.
I feel like it should go the opposite way, you know?
She has sleeves now.
Yeah. She's got sleeves now.
I've not done this the first next level. Do we just want to go ahead with it, or?
Yeah, we could check out a bit.
Show a little bit of the first level or the next level.
Oh, whoops! I went to the tower.
Oops.
Oh, this is the next
So
one.
go to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the corkboard for the tower, like it's a rich CEO you're trying to kill. And on the board, your character's like, she keeps donating money to like the poor. Something's up or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
maybe she's just donating it. Like,
Yeah.
Listen, philanthropy is a scam. Don't believe in the rich trying to buy themselves goodwill for things that they could just solve systemically. But in the fiction of this game, I think it's trying to say something.
She's waiting for you.
I am so tired of
I know. She's
Wow.
waiting for you. Bonk.
bonk. I'm so tired of
them.
I'm so tired of fighting games that don't have you go through a business tower. I'm so glad Sifu lets you do that.
So one of the things about this game is that it has dialogue choices.
Yes.
And like those choices can determine if you get in extra fights. There's like one guy in the first level that if you interrupt him while you're making the choice, you just get an automatic takedown on him.
Yeah, you automatically beat a mini boss with one hit. It's very funny. And because it's a roguelike, you can try all of those dialogue options over and over again until you find the ones that actually give you the most benefit.
Yeah.
Also, right there, the enemy tried to do a takedown on Imran.
Yeah.
So some of the tougher ones can actually just do that, which is scary.
Can you imagine going to the Fanbyte offices and then just finding out that everybody immediately knows Kung Fu and is trying to like
I like
This
that
is
you can find
unbelievable.
stuff for earlier levels in later levels.
Yeah.
So stuff that will like unlock shortcuts or, make things a little bit easier.
That's really nice.
which really leans into the magical element, I would say, because it's
Right.
like you're basically grabbing stuff in later levels to send back to your young self to go through earlier levels, essentially.
Yeah, it's like everybody has their own like weird magic that they are specifically in charge of, like you were saying, and your power seems to be time magic, death magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You age because like it hasn't been 40 years. It's still been like 8 years since you started the revenge plot.
Right. And like when you go down and you aged 9 years in one kill and you stand back up again, characters will like they acknowledge that they're still fighting you in that same fight. They're like, "Oh, I thought it was over," or you want some more?"
Not
You've
even
mastered death.
your family
Whoa.
is certainly full of mysteries.
Oh, easy boss
I'm
fight. She's right there.
certain Kang
Yeah,
will
just
to
pull out a
see
gun.
again.
Imran, you
I've played
remember when you
Ashura's Wrath. I know how this is going.
Oh shit. She's the Calro of this game.
Yeah, she was never really there. Okay, no, nothing.
Any regrets now?
Woof.
Yeah, this guy's tough. He's got a lot of structure.
Good parries.
I mean, that's mostly Sifu though. Like, this is most of what the game is. It's very, very focused.
I love when they fucking react. That's so great.
She's on fire.
She's got a weapon. It's like, yeah. I had one when I came in too.
Yeah. I really like this game. I think people should check it out.
I do too.
It's tough. It's hard. And I think people are going to bounce off of it because of that. But I think it's worth it if you take your time and go through it. There's a lot of things to explore and things to learn about its combat systems that you'll be occupied for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like all of you, like, do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's like been rewarding enough?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think like
Yeah.
there was a point where I was playing it the other day where I was like, "This is a game of the year quality game."
Yeah.
It's going to come up in discussions for sure, and I think it's also going to be divisive because a lot of people will not get far enough to really like
It'll be
unlock
tough.
the third eye, as to borrow a phrase of John.
Yeah. It's
is-
true.
I had that
that's
same
valid.
feeling, but before then, I had a feeling like, God, this game is so fucking annoying. Like in stage 2, fighting Sean, the fighter, I kept losing, and I was like, this is so painful.
Yeah.
But you get past that hurdle, and it is quite fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I was fighting the early version of the boss, like pre-patch version of that first boss, and you don't really have anything unlocked yet, and I hadn't really had much ramp-up time, I was maybe, and y'all know the kind of games I like. I live for this shit. And I was fucking frustrated. I was
Yes, you
on
were.
tilt.
You got tilted. Yeah. You got really tilted. You're like
was a point where-
you're like sending me DMs in the middle of the night being like, this game is not as tight as Sekiro. This is bullshit. And then I was just like, listen, I'm not gonna argue with you, but it's like, yeah, it's a tough game. It is a tough game.
I
There was
closed.
a point.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, there was a point where I accidentally like glitched the first boss, and like he turned invisible, and I still managed to beat him. I was
Oh
like,
my god.
I've never felt
Disgusting.
prouder of anything.
Unbelievable.
There was a point where after getting up really on tilt that one night, I closed the game and reinstalled Sekiro and went in to go test, like, because I was scared. I was like, have I lost a step? Am I getting old? Am I washed? And I went back no, I can still parry all these motherfuckers, no problem. So this is just this game. This is not on me.
Sekiro is honestly a more forgiving game in some ways.
Totally, it absolutely is.
It is. Yeah.
I don't think the systems are like more sloppy in this. I think they're just different than Sekiro. Yeah, it gets tough, but I think you just have to accept it. Like you have to accept the level of difficulty it's throwing at you because you can't lower it. And if
Because
you,
like that's a situation where like I was just stuck in a like gang up position. And like
can't-
Sekiro doesn't put you in that position. You can get out real fast.
Right, or
Yeah,
you
you
can
got
drop
the
a smoke
grappling hook.
bomb or firecrackers, or
Yeah.
And the other thing about this game too that I think like Sekiro is probably also a lot harder in some spots, especially when you get to some of those like later bosses and the owl and stuff. But the thing about Sekiro is that this game doesn't have, that Sekiro does, is like there's no downtime. There's no exploration really. They're like you go off to like one side room and pick up maybe a single collectible, but it's just go, fight.
Right.
Yeah, and also Sekiro gives you infinite tries to try something.
Right.
This game definitely, like, I'm going to die here for sure. Not maybe this fight with this level. I'm not going to be able to just immediately pick back up and try again at like 20 or age 20.
Right.
No, but I think what's good about going through this level now at this old age is that you can find shortcuts for if you try to
For
get
the future.
younger.
Right.
And the shortcuts aren't that helpful. They're helpful sometimes, but I don't know. You still have to fight a lot of tough people before you get to the boss.
There's still fighting a lot of people.
It can cut like 20 minutes out of a level too.
It
Absolutely.
can, especially
And it,
the
like-
first, like the squats, the first level, you can cut very, very quickly. About like I would say 70% of the level out of that level.
And it kind of gets me like thinking like a speedrunner at some point too.
Yes.
Like, let me just dash through here, kill these guys real quick because I need this dragon statue. But like,
yeah.
Oh, John, you were literally
ahead.
talking about how you wanted to beat this game without ever aging once or
Yeah,
something like
I mean, yeah, no, I
What?
think that's gonna be the speed run category. It has to be
Yeah.
like at GDQ and stuff. Like we'll see it. We'll see like age 20 run any percent or whatever. It's like that's what we're gonna see, and I think it's gonna be amazing. And I think that's my ultimate goal, and I think that's kind of what the game ultimately kind of wants you to do, but it's really hard.
Yeah, it explicitly says that in the review guide as well. It like says different ways to beat the game and play it, and like the last one is, can you beat it without dying once?
Yep.
No, the answer is no.
The answer
The
is
answer is
no.
no. I don't believe I can, but I will try.
How did
Yeah.
you get this phone number? Leave me alone.
I'll watch it on a stream, but
yeah, I will happily watch and cheer along someone doing this.
yeah.
But it's like Sekiro blindfold one of like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I don't need to.
Wow, that guy needs to run this game blindfolded. I can't imagine.
Yo,
Disgusting.
no way.
There's no
blindfolded
way.
run.
There's no way. There's no way. But
There's decent audio cues. I would
There are.
not be
It's true.
shocked if you're able to do it.
that's true.
But like, also sometimes you'll fight an enemy that's like, oh, this guy's nothing, and the next one he's like, oh, this guy became a mini boss. He's a huge problem now.
that's the thing. It does randomize some things, so it keeps things pretty fresh. But like a lot of things remain the same between playthroughs. So
Yeah, I mean, like, we should probably wrap up here before we show too much of the game. One thing I want to ask real quick, do they ever explain, because I now that I have you all here, I need you to tell me, as the Sifu masters, the Sifus of Sifu, can you tell me what the fucking visual cues mean? Like, when they have red arms, does that mean those are unblockable?
They're unparryable.
they're unparryable.
Unparryable. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff like that. You were talking about that earlier, John, that is just like not super well explained, which I
not
genuinely
well
do
explained.
think the game could be better about.
Yeah, I do too.
Some are unblockable. Some break your guard as well. Like there's specific moves that are made to shred your defense. So I normally just dodge. Like if I see any of those things, I will dodge.
I think that's one of the problems, though, too, is like, I think, and John, you said this in our Slack, like, the game just also doesn't really tell you that dodging is an option, other than.
Not really.
In there's the avoids. So there's dodges, there's avoids, there's blocks, and there's parries.
Yeah.
Avoids are like you're holding block and then you dodge up or down, but you stay in place.
Yeah.
Dodging is R2 and you just like roll out of the way, like straight up Sekiro, straight up Dark Souls style.
Yes.
Blocking and parrying are what they sound like.
Yeah. Dodging is like, especially if you're going for one of those focus bar builds, really important. Because
Right.
like the more you build focus by dodging. Mm-hmm. Or not dodging, sorry.
avoid,
the
yeah.
Avoids, yeah. Yeah, avoids seem completely crucial.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is rad. I can't wait to read about it and see what folks think. It's gonna
Is your
start some
review out
conversations.
by the time this video comes up, Funke?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Check it out on the site.
Yeah, go to fanbyte.com to go read that review and, bookmark us here at youtube.com/fanbyte, the current URL that actually works now to watch our videos.
Way to go, Steven. You did it.
If you're watching this video 2 years after we put this out, you'll be like, why didn't they have the URL? Well, we didn't for a while. Now we do. And now you can watch the Sifu first bite on there. Thank you so much, Imran, for driving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you,
Keep up.
Imran. Thank you, Funke. Thank you, John. I lost track of who I'm talking to. Anyway,
No, it's okay. It's all right. You've aged 58 years since this call started, just like Sifu, and it's understandable. Sometimes there was memory loss there. It's all right.
Yeah,
The game that makes you old.
The game that makes you old.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.